Howdy folks, happy Thursday. Hope you're doing alright. Alrighty, let's turn this down here a little bit. Alright, so we got a couple things today. First off, Project 2 was due. I actually had planned on not going over Project 2, if that's okay with you folks, because we did the item portion of it, and it was just you practicing applying the classifying, I don't know if that's a real term or not, using classes throughout the rest of the store database that we were working on. So I was just going to leave that there, not spend a whole lot of time on it, because it took us a long time to cover Project 1 last time. I don't want to spend too much time covering that, because we need to get into Java server pages and a little bit of this object-oriented programming review. And then talk about Project 3. Project 3 won't be big, so you should be able to get it done by 3:31. But if you want some extra time, you can have till 4/7. But we're going to talk about the final project next week on March 31st, so that way you have 4 full weeks to work on it here. And again, with the final project, you are welcome to work in pairs. I would actually strongly recommend it, that you work in pairs, but I get that doesn't always work, and we're still kind of in the middle of this global pandemic and craziness. So if you want to take it on individually, that's fine too. If you want to work with a pair, I'm definitely would encourage that as well. So I can set up a little like a forum in here if you folks want. My goodness. So that's right, a discussion. That's not even a forum. So if you want to post just here in D2L, you'll find just the folks in the class here. So this will be for group project looking for partner. We'll make a topic in here, and sure, save and add a topic. Oh, wait, we already have the topic, right? So you should be able to post here then, actually. This discussion things are so obnoxious. There's the topic. So you should be able to come in here and add a thread if you're looking for a partner. And find people that way here in the course. I'm not going to set it up in Desire to Learn as a group project, because that gives me all sorts of other hassles. So you and your partner will just both submit individually. I can set up a shared repository for you folks, so you'll both have access to it. So you can commit and push to the same repository, and that should work out relatively well for you. The MySQL database will not be in sync, though, so we'll have to spend a little bit of time building out that database, or just exporting it from one person to the other person importing it. But that generally goes excuse me, relatively well. So while I'm waiting, I should fire up NetBeans here. NetBeans. So I heard someone was telling me NetBeans 13 looks a whole lot nicer. I'm really excited to try and upgrade. I didn't want to do it in the middle of class, though, just in case weird things happen, because there's always weird things. We'll get NetBeans up and running, so we're going to talk about Javascript Pages. That's what this JSP thing is. So that's much more of the PHP style that we're familiar with, where it's HTML and embedded code. Where with our Java servlets, that was entirely Java code, and we just outputted HTML essentially one line at a time using that output here. So we're going to use them hand in hand. So our servlet will become the controller, and then any Java code that we want is part of the model. And then the views are the JSPs, the Java server pages. So you don't say JSP pages, because Java server page already has the word page in it, so it's just JSPs. I know it sounds a little funny, but you don't want to be redundant, right? We're always don't do more work than we need to, even if that's just saying another word twice. So, and hopefully you got your coffee. So let me open up our project here. Maybe. Okay, yeah, it's still loading. Give it a second. I've got a computer mostly picked out. I need to make a trip to Micro Center to get all the parts, and then we can assemble it and have a new desktop. I think I'm going to ditch the laptop. It's nice and all, but I think when I do go to classrooms, I can just either use my small laptop that it's not going to be quite as fast, and I think I might just go back to Zoom, which makes me a little sad, but running OBS is a bit of a hog, and I think that slows everything else down, because as you can see, it takes up like 30% of my resources or something just having it open. So, although I think Zoom uses less than that because it doesn't have to do any rendering, I think was the big difference here. There does need to be more Micro Centers. That's an awesome store. Very cool place. Yeah, OBS is just sitting, 16%, that's not too bad. But I'm capped right now, so we'll see if it goes up as we go. It's not too bad. I don't think my smaller laptop will handle it. So this is and this one's 3 years old now too, but I think a desktop will last me a little longer, or at least I could replace parts that seem to be aging. It's a little hard to upgrade these laptops the way they're built nowadays, which is unfortunate. So this will probably just turn into another Netflix computer for the kids. Yeah. All right, we're not doing too bad, I suppose. All right, yeah, we plugged in, right? Should be using high performance. My goodness. Sometimes it changes like performance modes on me, and I get confused. Yeah, 100% fully charged. Nice. Power mode, yeah, best performance, so what is that for? All right, anyway, let's close that one down. And then I think, did we just have the Hello World project? I think that's all we had. We're just kind of iterating on. So I think we can go beyond that. Yeah, it was just Hello World. So let's make a new one here. And we're going to do our Java web application. Put this in 2454. Enter. And what should we call this one? Let's do this as, I don't want to recreate the store, really. Let's do, how about stocks? Stocks are always fun. And we got our Tomcat server already set up. Context path is /stocks. Don't need any of the frameworks right now. And then I fire up my web server. Open up XAMPP. Oh, while this is loading too, I wanted to remind you, I think I posted it in the Discord before, but there's a summer momentum scholarship. If you folks still have classes to take for your program here, OCC will kick in some money, or you can apply. I don't know what the actual requirements are for it, I'm sorry. I don't think they had any other ones. So if you have 24 or more credits, they'll pay for up to 6 credits over the summer if it's in your plan of study, which is pretty cool. But unfortunately, not guest students, not early middle college students, not dual enrolled students. If you get an N grade, bad stuff happens. Doesn't apply for audit courses. So apply by April 22nd. And okay, first come, first served basis. So definitely apply sooner then. I don't know what the total funds are for this, but definitely would encourage you, if you're going to take summer classes in your academic plan of study, take a peek at this one and see if you can't get a couple free dollars towards that. So this will essentially pay for 6 credits and your student support fee, which is pretty sweet here if you have 24 or more. And I think by the time you're taking this course, you probably have 24 or more, given the prereq. But even 18 to 23 credits or more, they'll pay for a 3-credit course, which is pretty cool. So give that a look. Don't forget about that one. So apply sooner is better. Okay. So we're back here. We have our HTML page. Not a very interesting one here. So here's, home page and home. It's kind of silly. That's fine. We have our stocks page. So that's in our web pages, and then we have source packages. We're going to add a new package here. Add a servlet. We'll add it in the stocks package. We'll call this one stocks. So we're going to set up the servlet. That'll be our controller here. And yes, we want to add in the information. This one's really important. You don't want to do this by hand. You can edit web XMLs by hand. It's just really obnoxious too. I'm running out of my fluids here. All right. here we have our stock servlet then. Right, again, not anything super interesting, but we can add a link then here if we wanted. So add a little href to /stocks. Will take us to the stock servlet. Okay, and did we fire up? Oh, that's right. We don't even need to start Tomcat. I forgot with XAMPP. So once NetBeans knows about it and we hit start, it's going to go and start Tomcat for us because we set it up. That's right. You could stop it from XAMPP if you want to, but that's we can do pretty much everything we need from NetBeans here. Let's see what we get here. Yep, test and test should work for that manager. And assuming we've got everything up and running, I think by this point, I'm assuming you all had your servers up and running with no issues. We go to the stocks servlet. Oops, that's right, not /stocks. We wanted just stocks because this is the local. So /stocks takes us back to localhost /stocks. Now it'll take us to relative to a stocks location here. So here's our servlet. Yeah, nothing super interesting yet here, but now we're starting to build out our servlet. Now, what we want to do here is we want to list a bunch of stocks. And again, we'll get to what we want to do with all those in a little bit here. But to have the view set up, we're going to come to our web pages and we're going to add a new Java server page, a JSP. We'll call this one stocks. Okay, it's going to be the regular JSP file. So we finish this one up. And we can put it in a views folder or something you wanted to at this point, but that's okay. So in JSP, it is the bracket %sign to start a code block is our syntax here, instead of the question mark for PHP. Okay, so that's our syntax. So this is a JSP comment. And just like we saw with PHP comments, they don't come through the web server. Right? HTML comments come through, JSP comments don't. PHP comments don't. So we're not going to return any of this to the user here. But now we can see this is our page here. Has a nice little everything. And we can do a similar sort of approach. So, okay, I guess we should make a folder. We'll make a folder for views here. And then inside our views folder, let's make one for header. Okay, and then let's make another view for the footer. So that's our idea. You can kind of piecemeal these things together here. We can start building headers and footers as we go. Now, I'm just going to go copy paste because I'm shameless here and I don't want to have to reinvent the wheel and come up with what we did before. So let's go see what our existing header and footers had. And we'll probably do a similar thing here. We want the header file, header file here. So essentially, and we'll add in the rest of the links here in a little bit. And we're not going to have this PHP code block that here, so we don't have the login stuff. We'll get to logins later here, and we don't need a logout then. And actually, don't really need a whole lot of any other links at the moment here. So how about we do stocks. And this is just our stocks page. Could also add a reference to the index page if we wanted to, but I think just going back to stocks should be fine. This is stocks. Welcome to our stocks. Sure, why not? This is the header here that we can include in the rest of our application. I saved that in footer, didn't I? I did the wrong thing. Let's put that in header like I meant to. There we go. And then in the footer, then let's go copy it off our footer here. Let's do footer. Let's find our footer file. We'll add in a little footer here. In the footer file. Now we don't need to, we can't use this PHP code block, so if we wanted to get a Java code block, right, that's %sign here. And I'm just going to Google it because I don't remember the syntax. So JSP current date, current year. Well, so we get full year. Is that what we want? Guru99.com? That sounds legit. So we can just include today's date. We don't want the whole date, right? We just want just the year, right? All right, so we want the date. Come on. Okay, that's fine. So to add something, right, we're going to use this %equals here, and then we'll end the block here. What we want to put in here is a new java.util.date, and we need some parentheses here so we get the date first, and then we want date property. Come on. I'm in the wrong spot. Come on. Dot year. Get year? No, that's an int. Might be the right version. Calendar.get year. Okay. Calendar.get. All right, let's try that then. Calendar dot. Come on. Date.toString. I don't want the entire date. Get the current year, and that's JavaScript. We don't want JavaScript. That was the wrong link to click. Print the current date and time. Get the current year in JavaScript. Format a date in JSP. Current year. And a drop down. My goodness. Why is this so hard here? Util.calendar. Calendar. Dot. No, what? Whoa. Dot. Calendar dot. Where's our calendar? Yeah, we want to use calendar. Get year. Did not get year. It doesn't like get year. Didn't like that one either. Oh my goodness. Okay. Date. Get year. It says we should use the other version here. Calendar.get. Okay, can we do calendar.get? Calendar.get. Calendar.year. Doesn't like .get either. It lied. It lied. I don't want the builder. Year. Okay, come on. Java. Calendar get year. All of this just to get our copyright. This is silly. I'm sorry. Get year from a date. It's not worth it. It's really not going to be worth it here. That's date. I don't want calendar. It says I should use calendar. Get year and calendar. There we go. Calendar.get instance. Calendar.set time to the date. Oh my goodness, that's really ugly. Forget that. Forget that. We'll just use date.get year and see what happens. We'll just see what happens, okay? Because that's nonsense. That was no fun here. All right. So then if we want to include our header and footer inside of our page here, we're going to, where's our notation here? Oh, okay, so we could copy off the book if we wanted to. We'd have to import a couple things. I suppose we could. The Gregorian calendar, the calendar get year. That's fun. Where to go here? We wanted to include our pages. Oh, goodness. That's where it is. Okay, there we go. So to do this then, we need to use our tag library. So there's a line we need here inside of our main page that says, hey, I want to use this C Jstl tag library. We're going to call it C because it's the core library. So Jstl is the Java Standard Template Library for JSP. All sorts of cool things we can do in here. To use it, though, we need to come to libraries, and we need to add a library for the JSTL. So we need to tell NetBeans we want to use the library. Then every page, we say, import the library, please, with this, and we're going to call it C notation here. Then I can start using that library to start adding some imports here. So in my page, then I don't need head, right? I think we even started, we started the body here too. We don't need to start the body. All we need to do is include, nope, that didn't copy right. So we do this C import to say, hey, we're going to import the URL of, we want views / header.jsp. That will import the header for us, and then we don't need to, do we need to end the body? I think, nope, we don't need to end the body either. So we can import the footer when we're done. Sorry, slash. It's a single open and close command. So we'll import this URL from the views page, grab the header. Import the header, or the footer, here as well. And nothing super interesting yet. So this is the stocks JSP that we can get to. So if we run our project, right, we can link to the stocks servlet, or we also have stocks.jsp we could go to. Let's see if that'll load for us. Come on, stocks.jsp. Oh, it's still thinking about it. There we go. It's thinking real hard. There we go. So welcome to our awesome stocks. Is the link here we put in nav, right back to the servlet here. Awesome copyright, 122. Okay, so we did not work here for the date. Go figure. We'll go steal what the book did then, because right, that's why you have a reference. So let's see if we can't get our book here. Let's try this for our footer. That date was no good. Yeah, we don't want to import calendar. Nope. Okay, come on, copy. I don't have to type it all. So here's our import. We'll import the Gregorian calendar and the Java util calendar. And then in a code block, we can set up a current date using the Gregorian calendar, getting the current date.get the calendar.year. Then we can add our copyright and just output the current year here. We don't need to do anything else. Right, similar, we'll do our code block stuff up at the top. This is probably prettier here. And then we just output. So this is like the echoes, right? Percent equals is similar to our echo. It's going to just take whatever we put here and just spit it out into the HTML. Let's give that a save and see if I can reload my page now. Now notice all I had to do was save the page, because when you request the JSP, nothing needs to compile. The web server is going to grab that JSP and render it on demand, which is pretty cool. This is my awesome stocks app, or stocks site. Right? Awesome stocks site. My awesome stocks site. There we go. There we go. Why not? So probably not an H1. Let's do an H2 here, because that'll fit. Stocks. All right. And then just with the JSPs, I can just refresh, right? Because it's going to render them as it needs to. And sometimes it takes a second for that to happen. There we go. I know we get stocks. Now the link back to the servlet. So again, it's kind of annoying if you have to link right to JSPs. That's not ideal. So what we want to do is we want to grab these from our servlet and forward, or no, I'm sorry, not forward the request. We want to include those here. Let me grab that here. Where'd it go here? Sorry, I'm finding out where we turn to it, or we forward to it. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we're going to, from our stocks servlet here, we don't need to do any of this outputting here, right? We don't even need the response writer here, or to set the content type. Right, all we need to do is get the servlet context, and we're going to call get request dispatcher. And where do we want to send it? We want to send it to stocks.jsp. Or again, we could like have that as a string for URL. Stocks.jsp, I think, is what we were doing before. And then we just pass it the URL argument. And then from here, then we forward, given the request and the response. It's a little long there. Let's say we want to forward this request to our JSP to be the view. So our controller here, we're not doing anything. This is just the home page here. So this is the default home page here. And let's see if that one runs now. So with the servlet, we need to restart. Oh, there's errors. Where's the error? Oh, goodness. What's wrong with our page here now? Don't need a print writer. What did I do? I missed a semicolon? What's the error? Is this thing in here? Wow, I upset those. Did I add the wrong like semicolon? Oh, too many curly braces. That's what happened. How did I get a new curly brace there? Okay, now it's happier, I think. That was really weird. Give me an extra curly brace. I don't know. All right, let's give that a run. That'll recompile our servlet. So the servlet is compiled code. We need to re-update that. Now stocks, then the stock servlet. Oh goodness, stocks does not start with a slash character. Uh-oh, that's right. Slash stocks slash JSP. Is that what it was? Let's try that. Stocks. Nope. Slash stocks. Oh, sorry, the servlet context already knows it's in slash stocks. Because our servlet context that we're getting knows it belongs in the slash stocks context. One more try. There we go. Now we're hitting the servlet here, but it's actually giving us the JSP behind the scenes, which is really cool. So now we're setting the stage for the model, the view, and the controller. Right, so we've got a view set up. We've got a controller set up. Now we need to add some models. So what we're going to do for a model, we're going to add a Java class here. We're going to call this stock. So a single stock here. It gets a little funny with the names, but it's okay. Now, one of the things we need to do, there's this thing called a Java bean. I know it sounds really funny, but we're going to make a Java bean is essentially a Java class that follows a couple rules. And we can use these beans to build things. So a couple rules about our beans is they need to have public get and set methods for all the attributes. We need to have a no argument constructor, and we need to implement a serializable interface. So we're going to have a stock. So we'll have a private string for the symbol. We'll have a private string for the name, and we'll have a private double for the, how about current price of a stock, right? And that'll represent the current price of a stock. Okay, and then to implement an interface, we say we implements serializable. So remember, for serializable, you probably did this back in Java 2 if you took that, or object-oriented programming in Java. Let me see if I can spell that right. Serializable. There we go. From the java.io library. This just means that you can essentially take it and put it into a format that can be saved on disk or transmitted here. For something to be serializable, all of its attributes must also be serializable. So if you're a class that has an attribute of another class, that class must be serializable as well. Otherwise, the serializing breaks. All the built-in Java types are already serializable. It works real nice. All right, so if we need all the gets and sets, we're going to go and insert some code. for getters and setters. We need all of these to have getters and setters to make it a Java bean, public gets and sets, and then we need a constructor. We'll insert code for a constructor. Now you need a no argument constructor, but I'm also a fan of parameterized constructors. So let's also make a constructor. This one's not necessarily required for Java beans, but it just makes our life easier, that you can give me these values here and I'll take them. Okay, so now I have a Java bean class. Okay, right, the 3 rules. It has no argument constructor. It has public get and set methods for all attributes. And it implements serializable. There's also a externalizable, but I think serializable is the more common one here. So you could technically do the other one. There's also, a funny name for these called a POJO, also known as POJO, a plain old Java object. Right? Nothing interesting happening here. Right? It just stores some values, so we can have a bunch of values around here. So what we could do in our stocks controller here then is we could make an instance of stock. So I can say stock equals a new stock, and we can say, hey, let's look at GME here. Let's go see how GameStop is doing. They're the big one. It's not as fun as doing this last year when we did a stocks application, when that was the big hot thing. So GameStop Corp is their name, right? So there's the symbol, GameStop Corp is the name, and the current price is $142.17, right? And if you remember at all the hype from last year, right, this stock was going nuts. I think we need 5 years ago was a little rough. Can we do it like custom zoom? I don't think I can. That's a bummer. I want like a custom zoom. It went up to 300 at one point here. It had a wild ride. Can we? I think it's Yahoo Finance. GME. They had a decent viewer, believe it or not. I think it was Yahoo Finance had a decent viewer here, where we could go look at their price here. Yeah, let's do 1 year. It's like full screen, and I think then we can even update this too. I think we could update those dates. Yahoo still is a thing, believe it or not. I don't know who uses them. I've heard, I've looked at this viewer a little bit. It's got some interesting data here. I feel like we can zoom. Yeah, we can zoom out a little bit more. There we go. This is what we wanted. No, I don't want underlay. Zoom out. So here's where this nonsense happened. So most of 2020, right, their stock price is like $4 a share. People were worried, apparently, during the pandemic that they'd go out of business because no one was going to malls, and you can download games nowadays. So they don't have a lot of, pull here. Okay, do you? Go. Nice. They've got a cool portfolio tool. You can build a whole portfolio out and stuff. And then right around here, it started getting crazy, January, right? And then there was the giant hype here near the end of January. The price shot up to like 350 or something. It was insane. And then it tumbled back down to like 41 when some of that hype died off. You can see these green bars underneath is the volume. That means how many shares are being traded here, bought and sold, right? So tons of people were buying in at the hype and losing money here, because when you have the fear of missing out, or FOMO, you're probably going to lose money. It's a powerful thing, but it will bite you. And then it dropped a ton, and it's peaked back up again, and then it dropped a bunch, and it's been up and down, up and down, up and down. But it's basically stayed above that mark for quite a while. So some people still really believe in GameStop as a stock. Anyway, that was our miscellaneous rabbit trail here. But we can make a stock object here. Then once we have an object, we can add it to our request. So we're going to say, hey, request.set attribute. We're going to say, hey, I'm going to set a stock, and I'm going to give it the stock instance. Once this request has an attribute here now in our view, we can go and list some things here. So let's make a table. Then we'll have a table header, a table row. Inside of that table row, we'll have a table header for the symbol. We'll end the table header. I know doing this is obnoxious, I'm sorry. And then we'll have no comments. No, stop that. Symbol, we'll have the name, we'll have the price. Price and name. And then we'll have another table row with our actual data. Now, to get this out, right, we need to be using this Java JSP expression language. So Java expression language is really cool. So if there's an attribute, now I can say right in my JSP, I can use this easier syntax of a $sign and then curly braces. So I'll say stock.symbol. So $stock.symbol says, hey, go get the thing that's called stock in the attribute, an attribute called stock. Okay, and then I'm assuming there's a .symbol attribute. So when you take a Java bean, you get access to them without using the gets and sets. They're automatic, which is super cool. So we could do the slow Java code. So we'll do the expression language first, and then we'll do the slow one after. So you can kind of see the differences here. So stock.symbol, stock.name, stock.price. Okay, now let's give this one a run. I need more fluids. I'm out of everything. My goodness. Quite the collection of cans, unfortunately, that need to go out. Here, so we'll go to our stock servlet. The stock servlet will make the instance of stock. Oh no! Uh-oh. Oh, that's right. We broke it. What do we do here? Property price not found. Oh, it's current price. That's why. So our error here, there we go. Yeah, it's not too bad. The property price was not found in the stock class. In all of this like bean resolver cool things here. This JavaX expression language does some really cool things behind the scenes. In process request here. Right, so the stack trace is kind of ugly. But it's current price. There we go. This is what I get for putting the wrong value in there. So this is just the JSP. So I should just be able to save and refresh. Here, we haven't changed the servlet. And here we go. Now we can get the symbol, name, and price out of a single stock. Now again, this is not super interesting yet, right? We're just working with a single object, but that's okay. We're still doing it, right? And it's working out okay. So that's the expression language. If we wanted to do it the slow way, right? We could totally fine doing it the slow way here. So I'm going to start a block here because again, we want to do our code like up at the top generally, and then we'll kind of separate all these things out. So I'm going to have a string for name will be my request dot, where do I get my request? Get attribute. Get attribute. Attribute. There we go. Get attribute of stock. And then I need to cast this as a stock object. Because I know it's a stock object, then I can call get name on that stock object. Oh, that's right. We add our imports here too. Oh man, where do we add our imports here? That's the ugly part here. Sorry. So we want to see, how do we do it in our footer code? Import. We have to add a page import here then. And we want stocks.stock. Right, stocks is the package, stock is the class. So say, hey, add an import here for this stocks.stock class. Then we can cast it as a stock, get the name back out. We can have a string for symbol. Same thing here, but get symbol. Get symbol. And actually that should come first, right? We should do symbol and then name and then current price. Right, and then a double for current price is stocks dot. Oops, we didn't need the whole line there. Get current price. Okay, now I have my variables that I can use here. Then I can do another table row with some table datas. And I'm just going to grab these ones here, if you don't mind. And then we'll have to, so this is with the expression language. So we'll put a little note here. Java or JSP expression language. syntax. Okay, and then this is going to be the I don't know, manual syntax. Is that fair? Manual. C code above, manual syntax plus C code above. And then for these, then we would do a code block again, equals the symbol. Do I have a string symbol? I spelled it wrong. Symbol. There we go. Symbol. Symbol. And then we could do name. And we could do price. Name and price. Okay, let's give that a run. So we should be able to get both sets of values out. They both work, but I think see why you would prefer this expression language. Oh, that's right. I could have just refreshed. Oh, goodness. Nope. 36. Oh, it's current price. That's right. I don't have price. It's current. I did it again, friends. I did it again. Stop using the word price. So it's just a JSP. I should be able to refresh, not the servlet. And we get the same values out. So you can see why one is probably a little nicer than the other, right? Obviously, this seems a little bit nicer here. And you can do it that way. And then there's also a way of using the Java standard template library tags. Here you can. So again, if we set up using that core, where did that one go? Our core, this is this one. Yeah, so we've got the core library already set up here. We can go and get those attributes back out as well here with the tags. And I gotta remember how we do that one again. Let's see, our tags. Where'd it go here? It's fine. Here we go, tags. So with the tags then, we can do essentially, let's do another table row. And our table row. Okay, and then we'll have some table data. Okay, let me just copy these three here. So we're going to do this with the Jstl tags, or tag syntax. Excuse me a second, I think I have to sneeze. Whew, there we go. All right, so for the Jstl tags, now they actually have a pretty cool syntax here, but it gets a little bit funny here. But we want to say this is the JSP use bean. And we'll give it an ID of stock. And we'll say the scope is the request, because we added this to the request here. There's other scope you can add, which is kind of interesting and funny and not, but this is request is pretty common. This is stock.stock is the class here. So we're going to use a bean here, and then inside of each of these, oh, what does it not like about my use bean? Remove surrounding tag. What's surrounding tag? No, I didn't want to do that. Why would I do that? I want the table row. That's weird. Okay, I thought that would be a helpful hint, but it was not a helpful hint. Now that I'm using the bean then, I can use these tags here, the JSP tag here, and I can say get property. The name of the property, I'm sorry, I'm getting it from the stock object, this ID of stock, and then the property that I want is the symbol. So you can use, essentially these are tags that you're adding here. So it's kind of a mix here. It's not built-in code. Yeah, Crow, you can do it by hand for sure. I don't recommend it here, but I want to show how all these work here. Current price. Okay, yeah, the frameworks kind of automate a lot of this stuff and make it easier for you here. What does it not like now? Invalid standard action. I'm using the bean. I'm using the bean. Why does it not like my bean? Use bean. Oh, user bean. That's right. Use bean. Okay. Now it's a little happier here. Sorry. Package stocks dot stock. There we go. All right, if you spell things right, it works out a little better. So this is the Jstl Tag Syntax. Yeah, this was kind of cool, being able to do it this way, and still better than this way, I feel like, the slow way, right, or manual syntax. But the expression language definitely, I think, beats it all out. And if we just give it a refresh, all we did was change the JSP, we should be fine. And now we see we get 3 different versions here of that same data, 3 different ways of getting it. So one of the cool things about this, though, so if I were to go to stocks.jsp, I'm sorry, that's oh yeah, no, this is right. So at line 13, this crashes here. So at line 13, there is no attribute stock because we went right to the JSP, not to the servlet. So what we would probably want to do here instead, we'd want to make this stock object, which is probably better to do it this way anyway. We'd say, hey, I want a stock equals getting the attribute of a stock type here. I think then we can get rid of some of these parentheses. Okay. And then all of these ones here, now we actually want to wrap up inside of a different check here. So we'd have to say if stock does not equal null, do these things here. Right? Or actually, you know, we could even leave, so once we have that stock there, we could even then go get that syntax here. Instead of symbol, it can be stock.getSymbol. Right? Now this is okay. And stock.getPrice. Get name. No, not instance of. Why? This type ahead is driving me crazy. And stock.getPrice. Get current price here. But if stock is null, right, we could say, hey, if stock equals null, then stock equals a new stock. Right, just give it a blank one here, essentially. We could do that this way. Right, let's give that a refresh. So now we took care of that error. Oh, duplicate local variable stock. Oh, shoot. Okay, we can't call it stock then if we already have a stock. Stock JSTL, why not? Let's try that. Now we get null, and 0. Notice there's only 2, though. And we don't get all 3. Let's take a look at our page source here. Let's view the page source. The first one here is empty and is not even displayed. The second one and the third one are displayed here. Is that a new HTML viewer? I feel like that's new. This looks different, but that's okay. So with expression language, if it doesn't exist, you don't get nulls. You just get empty, which is nice because it won't crash, right? Before we had to add in that safety check here for the manual. The JSTL syntax, if it doesn't exist, oh shoot. No, it needs to be called stock. That one needs to be called stock. This one will change the name here. So stock attribute. How about that? Stock attribute. Sorry. Just to make sure it works here. Stock attribute. Oh goodness. Total server error. Stock. Oh, that's right. I didn't change that. Let's put this back to stock. Okay. Put that back to stock. Okay. Now we still get the same behavior. This is good. This is what we want here. So the expression language just gives you blanks. So it's safe that if it's not there, it's not going to crash, which might do some weird things to your programs, though. The JSTL will, if it doesn't find one, will generate a new instance of the Java bean using that default constructor. So we'd get default. So if we wanted to, here in our stock class, in our default constructor, we could say symbol equals an empty string. Right? This is probably better, right? A constructor's job is to set values, set defaults here. Current price, come on. 0, right? Now if we refresh our page, we got to recompile this one, sorry. We'll get empty, and 0 with the default constructor. So that's the servlet here. If we go to the JSP directly, we're going to get empty, empty, and 0. So we get the defaults from the constructor if the object can't be found. Where with the expression language, it's going to give you nothing. So that's kind of a big difference here. And most of the time, this is probably fine. I think not having to deal with any of that nonsense, and most of the time, the default values from the constructor are no good here. But we have to be careful. Right, so this is for the old syntax. For old syntax, or manual syntax, right? Syntax, see below. Right? Okay, so I can add in comments to inside of the Java blocks. That's probably ugly, but that's okay. I'm not too concerned. Okay, so we've been going almost an hour now. Why don't we take a break? We did some basics here, looking at the starting of the model view controller style, right? Where we can have classes for our model, we can have the controller as the servlet, and we can have views as the JSPs, Java Server Pages. Okay, so when we take a little break, we'll come back in 10 minutes or so and pick it up from there, okay? We'll put some music back on, and we'll come back in 10, okay, folks? Howdy folks, welcome on back. Alrighty. Very cool. Alright. So just a couple more things to look at for this. So if we wanted to kind of expand this idea and do a little bit more, right? Because this is just one class here, right? Like this is not super useful at the moment, right? So what if we wanted to say, hey, how would we have a collection of stocks, right? And then how would we compare the stocks that we bought to the current price? So let's see if we can expand this a little bit. So let's add a new private double for the purchase price. Purchase price. Okay, and then we need to go, obviously go update a couple things here. So we'll say for the no argument constructor, our purchase price will be 0. That's fine. And then we can add in a double for purchase price. Purchase price. And then we'll say this purchase price equals the purchase price. Okay, and then we need to add the getters and setters. So we can do the insert code for that one here. Insert code, getters and setters for purchase price. We should be in good shape here. So we've added stuff to it here. Now our stock here for GameStop is going to be upset. So let's say, hey, let's pretend we bought at the peak here at the height and bought it for $300 for the purchase price here. Okay, we need to go update our view as well. And now we'll have this was the current price. And then we can add a purchase price. Right? And then because this is a class, right, it can do other things. This was just the minimum to be a Java bean. We can have a public double get what net gain or a change in price, or you get what do we want to call this one here? How about net get what the purchase price minus the current price, or no, the current price minus the purchase price, right? The, I don't know, get value, maybe. I don't know if that makes any sense. We'll try it here. So we're going to say the current price will return the current price minus the purchase price. So if we bought it for less than it's worth, this will be positive. If we bought it for more than it's currently worth, it'll be negative here. So we can add in then to our list here, we can have the current price, the purchase price, and we can have the, I don't know, what do we call that? The value here. So we can just add in more attributes. Nope, no comments, no comments. Current price, purchase price, and what do we call that? The value, get value, is that what we call that one? Get value. Value here. Add in 2 more here for get purchase price and get value here. And then 2 more with our bean here. TD. Yeah, we'll just copy paste. Why am I not doing that? We want purchase price. And then we want value. Okay, let's give that a run. Oh, here's our page here. It's on my other monitor, sorry. Give me a second. All right, we'll go to our stock servlet. Let's pin that again. And we're getting the value out. So notice we don't actually have a actual attribute for value, right? We have a get value. So this convention, if it follows the naming convention of get and then an attribute name, we can go get that attribute back out. Right? It's calling the get value method. So it works with the expression language and it works with the JSTL. And obviously we'll work with the manual because we have a method for it here. But this will call a method named get value. Right? This will call a method named get value. So that method exists. We're in good shape for this here. So we can add additional function features and functionality to our class here. So now what we want to do, right, we can have a collection of these things here, right? So if I, instead of just having a single stock now, right, if I wanted to have multiple stocks, right, we could, instead of having a single stock attribute here, we could have a collection of stocks if we wanted, right? So we could have an array list of type stock, we'll call stocks, equals a new array list, nope, array list, oh my goodness, come on, friend, array list here. Oh, we got to add the import, that's why. Yes, please import java.util.arraylist here. So then I could have a list of stocks, and I could take my stocks.add the stock, and then I could take my stocks.add, what else? Oh my goodness, that was not, no, undo. Stocks.add a new stock, and what other stock would be interesting here? What else should we look at here? What other stocks are interesting to you folks here? What else should we add? What else was a big one here that people were talking about? I can't remember the other meme stocks. AMC, yes, thank you. Stock, thank you. AMC. I don't know why that wasn't on my head here. So AMC now is $20 a share. If we look at like a year ago here, they were up to 32 or so. Let's see, the 5-year mark, it might be a little harder to see, but yeah, they spiked. They hit 50 something, right? After being relatively low. You see a lot of activity in January time, right? But then they came back relatively well later in the year. So not quite as big of a difference as GameStop. So let's say we bought this one for like $3.35 a share. I guess it's gone down quite a bit, or was down quite a bit, right? So if we bought it before all this nonsense happened at $3.35 a share, this is AMC. What is their name here again? They are AMC Entertainment Holdings. Sure, AMC Entertainment Holdings. Sure. And if we bought it for $3.50 a share, now the current price is $20. 20.21. Right, we can add a stock here. Sure, why not? Add that to our stocks collection. Right, can do that. Any other meme stocks you want to look at? Or I think 2 is probably enough for now. Here. So then we're going to do, oh my goodness, we're going to do that same thing. We're going to set an attribute here. Now of the stocks collection here, our stocks array list here, and then in our stocks view, again, let's just look at one syntax here. So we could do the manual, right? We can get out the stocks array list, and then we can loop through it here. But I want to show you with the expression language. There's a little shortcut for us here. We're going to combine the expression language with the tags. So using our Jstl tags, we can combine some expression language here, which is pretty sweet. So we're going to say C, that's our C tag, and we're going to do a for each loop. So for each says, well, what do we want to call each one of these things? So I'm going to call it, because I want to use a different variable name for it. So I'm going to call it stock in list, just to make sure I don't like call something stock that already is stock here. And then the items we're going to get from the $stocks attribute that's in the request. So for each of those, then we're going to do a table row with a bunch of table data. And we want these ones here using this expression language syntax. Now, the individual item is going to be called stock in list for each item in the stocks collection. So we should be able to get a duplicate here if we did this right, because we added the other stock here. So let's just add a table row here. I don't want to add anything, I guess. That's fine. So we should get GameStop 3 times, and then a 4th time for this one, and then AMC, if we did it right. Let's see what we get. We get it the 4th time, and then we get AMC. Uh-oh, so this is, we're backwards here. I wanted current price to be 20 and purchase. So we wanted to make money on this one. So we'll say 20.2 is the current price. And if we bought it for $3.50 here back in 2020, right, then we're going to make some money off of it. GameStop, not so much, right? But the AMC stock, we'll pretend we made money here. Right? So we can use this little for each loop in that tag here, then to kind of iterate over a collection of items, okay? So what I want to do for the next project here, for the JSP or Java Servlet JSP project, this will be project number 3. So do you want a lab on this due next week, or do you just want to get right into the project? Because I'm hoping the project you can get done in about a week. It won't be quite as large, but I want it to be in your project's category here, so the grades line up right. Let me grab this here. Make sure I get the right points here. So project 3, oh my goodness, I didn't fix any of these. My friends, let's put this in the right category here. This is projects. Save. And then we'll move lab into the right category. Lab 5 needs to be in the lab category. Yeah, okay, 29, you got it. We'll get right to the project. I think that'll make life easiest here. So this is a lab. Sorry about that. I didn't know I had those in the wrong spot here. Okay. They're out of order. You probably don't care if they're out of order, do you? All right, I want to reorder them. It's going to bother me. I'm sorry. Just give me just a second. We can fix these. So we'll put this one here at 7. The other one there at 6. Then we should be okay. Okay, cool. And I never did any quizzes for you. Do you guys want more quizzes? You want to be done with quizzes? I think they're worthwhile. I feel like we can do a quiz on the JSP chapter, right? Because it's definitely encourages you to get into the textbook if you're not keeping up with the reading. Does that sound okay? All right. So let's do a new project here. What we're going to do is a little recipe helper. So we want to be able to take a recipe. So we're going to make a recipe class that has a list of ingredients and directions. Right? So if you look at a recipe, right, it has here's your shopping list, and then here's the directions. And then we need a ingredient class. Right? That recipe has a list of ingredients. We need an ingredient class that has the name it has the measure, and then it has the quantity. So like flour, the measures is going to be cups, and then the quantity is like 1. So what we do if we were going to double or triple or halve the recipe is we'll take the quantity amount and change it. We're going to leave the measure alone. So if I say, hey, I want to quadruple this, I'll go from 1 cup to 4 cups. If I want to take it in half, I'll go from 1 cup to half cup. Right? So whatever those units are, is fine. We don't need to be changing between units. So if the measure is cups, leave it as cups. We don't need to change any of that stuff. We don't need to go to tablespoons or any of that other nonsense here. So we go set up project 3, and we need the classroom link from GitHub here. So you get another repository here. So let's make project 3. Winter 2022. Project 3. Java template. I don't have any tests. We'll do feedback pull request. All right, awesome. So please submit the feedback pull request URL and a self-assessment using the rubric here. So this will be for projects, text submission, assessment. Was it on URL to be capitalized, really? Okay, sure. So this will be due. We've got 2 weeks on it if you need it. I'm hoping you can get it done by the 31st and have it done and out of the way. Right, but if you want to take a little more time on it, that's fine. This will just be 10 points here. So we're going to create a Java web application that has a controller servlet and JSP views. We're going to have a hard-coded recipe in the servlet, but include a form form with a drop-down allows them to 1/4, 1/2, 1, 2, 3, 4 multiply the recipe. Multiply, right? So you're going to include a recipe class that has attributes for the ingredient, array list of ingredient, and a string for directions. Okay, the ingredient class should have attributes for name, measure, and quantity as a double. The name and measure are strings. I mean, we could tie this into a database and it might be interesting. With a hard-coded recipe, might not be quite so fun though, 29. But yeah, hopefully they're more interesting than just like a boring project out of the book. I don't know. We'll see. We will almost always double or triple recipes when we make them in my house because I have 6 kids, 7th on the way. So I'm used to doing this sort of multiplication stuff. But some websites have it built in, which is pretty cool. There's a couple good sites which are nice for things like this. Okay, so that hard-coded recipe means that the servlet just loads up an instance of recipe, like we said, hey, here's the stocks, right? It's just going to load up that instance, set the attribute, and go. But it needs to then multiply, do any of the multiplication based on that drop-down form, right? So the form should submit to the servlet, and the servlet can modify the recipe, modify what each ingredient in the recipe, each ingredient quantity, each ingredient's quantity, right? Ingredients quantity in the recipe before adding to the request and forwarding to the JSP view. Okay, does that make sense what we're trying to tackle here? So that's what we're going to be working on. Again, hopefully you've all had a chance to get your Tomcat server up and running, working in NetBeans. You got your first Hello World servlet set up here from the last lab. What do we do? Honestly, I don't even remember right now because that was last week, and I'm a little fried. Life's been crazy. I'm so sorry I haven't got stuff graded for you. I want to focus on the midterm first because that you probably have the biggest questions about. I'm hoping with the project you kind of know how you did based on the rubric here. Oh yeah, this is just a silly pretend login page here. Yep. So that was, yep. Just playing with a little servlet here was fine. And we need to build out a rubric for that project then, for project 3. I didn't even add a grade to it here. Oh my goodness. This is, we didn't even name it either, friends. This is project 3, Java servlets, and JSPs. We'll add a new, create a new project 3 for projects. I like that. Sure. And then the rubric, we'll create a new rubric for project 3. Okay, so we'll do, it's either complete or missing, like usual. Missing for 0 points. Complete for, let's say 2.5 for each of these. So this is the recipe and ingredient. Classes are Java beans with all attributes. All right, 2.5 points for that. And then we'll have a servlet controller that has a hard-coded recipe and handles a form with a multiplier here. And then we need the recipe view JSP. Displays all ingredients and the directions. Am I missing something? Is that it? So we should do this. We should do this for more points then. Let's do. Tell you what, let's just make those 4 points each, and we'll make it a total of 12. Because why not? Why not, friends? We'll make it 12 total. Okay. Is that all right? So that should be just as many points here as the other one, as project 2. So this one might be a little quicker for you than the store class project, but that was kind of like the end of our PHP side of things. Right, let me go fix up this grade list here then. Yeah, we don't need this untitled one. We can delete that one. Is that my delete? There we go. Oh, different view. Delete untitled. And you know, that's a little less work. I feel bad about being 12. Let's make that one worth 9. You okay with that? Let's make it 3 points each for that, because that's going to be a little less work overall than the other projects. That doesn't seem right that it's the same totals. Let me change that up. Sorry about that. I'm changing my mind here. Is that okay? Do 9 points total. Then I'll go fix up that rubric. All right, awesome. So we'll go fix the rubric. All right, any other thoughts, questions, concerns? How you feeling? We're getting into the real model view controller here in JSP. This is Desire to Learn. It's our course management system here. Could do anything. Let's do 3 points each. Yeah, overall score. We can get rid of the overall score too. All right, we're feeling pretty good then? Awesome. If you have other issues, let me know. I know I think 1 or 2 people were having trouble. I was going to meet with them after class, so shoot me a message on Discord. Yeah, I'll post the quiz. Thank you. I'll add the quiz for that one here in just a second. Thanks for that reminder. So we'll do the quiz on chapter 6 here. Yep, cool. All right, awesome. All right, I'll get that one posted. Should we see if there's anyone else around on Twitch land for fun? They could go raid. It's always fun to send a raid out to some friends in Twitch land. So this will be the only required project for Java, servlets, and JSP. The final project you can do in PHP or JSP, whichever one you prefer. And I usually get a pretty decent mix. Some people prefer the Java syntax because they've done more Java programming. Some people say, well, we did half the semester in PHP, you might as well just keep going with it. So either one will definitely work to get the project done. They're both great web technologies. Okay. All right. Awesome. I'll get that one posted in just a little bit for you. Let's see if anyone's around in Twitch land for fun. They could go raid. I'll put on my ending screen here. No, we'll do next week. We'll do the final project goat. We'll talk about it. So I want that to be the last month of class. You can go from there. Yep, cool. Let's see. Go take a look at Juicebox Hero. Maybe I'm not sure we can raid them. Maybe we can. We'll see if we can. They're yeah, I think we can. A front-end code manager for a big company, and they've been streaming. They're doing some coding, so we'll head over there, say hi. We'll take care, everybody, and I will see you around.